Good afternoon, guys. Good morning, guys. For those of you joining the call today, my name is Andy Morris. I'm going to take you through a case management presentation today. It's a great pleasure to be back talking to you in respect of ACI's financial crime capabilities. Obviously, today's session is aimed at a case management solution, but you've heard consistently from myself and my colleagues about some of the other financial crime assets that we can bring to bear to help you fight some of the challenges that you face today. So without further ado, I'm going to step you through the first slides. So in terms of today's reality, we've got different fraud challenges and compliance challenges. These range across and are organised in respect of channel, typically payment types, and different modus operandi. Some of these are still evolving, such as the one I've illustrated here in mobile. We've also got cyber crime, which is obviously another emerging threat, which piggybacks across some traditional types of modus operandi through the use of the internet. However, having this complex set of challenges is very difficult to manage. That's what I'm trying to illustrate on this particular holding slide. It's difficult to understand what needs to be worked first. It's difficult to understand the true exposure that you face. It's difficult to coach and in some instances influence law enforcement to take action at a local or even national level. More importantly, it's difficult to educate and train staff, and more importantly retain that staff, and to make sure that they work those cases effectively and efficiently. Managing fraud is very difficult and challenging. It's an art. Getting it right will deliver results by understanding the how, where, when, and by who, and ensuring that you implement the right policies and procedures to drive the fraudsters away. Assessing fraud and the various types of fraud is important. Preventing and having adequate countermeasures is vital fighting against financial crime. When things go wrong, you need to have a robust solution that will enable you to recover where monies have been paid away in error, under indemnity, or where you need to block transactions or payments because they are suspected of being suspicious in respect of anti-money laundering. Managing fraud at case level, you need to detect the fraud. Data is very important when fighting against financial crime, but data can only be actionable when it becomes intelligence. Intelligence leads the fraud analyst into taking action to prevent the threats. In our world today, intelligence is vital. This could be modus operandi, this could be common patterns, this could be identifying the same individuals associated with the fraud, helping to lead prosecution, refining of policies or procedures to mitigate fraud threats. How we resolve cases today is also important. As I already said, making timely and informed decisions is about knowing when to act. For example, receiving intelligence when there's going to be an armed robbery on the high street where there are 5 different banks is not actionable intelligence. But knowing the description of the getaway car you may actually be able to turn intelligence into actionable steps where appropriate resources can be deployed. The same applies today to financial institutions. Knowing when the pain points and what types of financial crime will help you lead to a proportional action being taken in respect of your cases. So why is case management important? So you've heard my views on case management, but let's hear some of the views from a financial crime analyst perspective within the industry. And it's quite shocking to know that IAC put forward that 1/3 of institutions actually treat case fraud management as a high priority. So there's 2/3 of institutions out there that haven't got proven and purpose-built case and alert management tools. Reality is case management is somewhat of a necessity. I'm not talking about an Excel database, paper folders or exception reports, but I'm talking about a proven tool that helps you organise your workflow, your people and your priorities to understand and take actions against threats. Specifically deployed case management tools are now a reality or a certainty. Like the old proverbs say, there are only two certainties in life. One is death, the other is paying taxes. There's now a third. It's having a case management solution. Not having appropriate case management tools has consequences. You could be in the camp that decides that it's not appropriate to have a case management tool. The 2/3 of financial institutions that don't invest in a case management tool today. Alternatively, you could be in the 1/3 that wants to make the change and makes the investment in respect of adequate case management tools. So let me talk about the consequences and the options available to you today. We are walking a road where we can either turn left or right. Turning right leads us on a journey to a structured, methodological and centralised approach to case resolution. Turning left leads us on an unstructured, a duplication, redundancy, cost and not understanding the bigger picture route. Which route would you decide to go on? More importantly, I'd like to emphasise that fraud is on the increase. Whether or not we have to deploy the right resources to prevent and predict where fraud is migrating to. Ask yourself today whether you have the resources and the infrastructure to cope with the rising fraud that you're going to experience tomorrow. As I said through this presentation, getting it wrong has consequences. Having the wrong strategy in place can be problematic. Productivity can quickly fall away. Key information can get lost or does not get gathered at all. Collecting actionable intelligence is vital to being successful in the fight against organised crime. Looking at this from a wider angle and across the different types of modus operandi, if we get it wrong, we have chaos. Not having appropriate tools in place will lead to chaos. Chaos is not a good place to be when your reputation and your customers' money is at risk. So if you still have some doubts, let's spend a bit of time building out the business case for case management. We have, by acknowledgement, limited resources today. Resources we need to be employed effectively and efficiently. Resources also need to be trained to work on cases in a methodical manner that supports best practices to help mitigate loss, recover money, make disclosure reports where money laundering might be suspected. Oversight. Oversight is also important, knowing when policies and procedures need to be changed so exposure and threats can be mitigated. Understanding the impact on the customer holistically is also important. As earlier webinars have emphasised, account takeover is on the increase. The criminal will attack from multiple points. Having intelligence at customer level and across the enterprise is also helpful in respect of defeating fraud threats. You need a process which is repeatable and has a positive customer experience. The customer might be compromised or become the victim of the fraud, but they don't want to deal with multiple touch points across the bank where fraud has occurred. They want intelligence-led case management tools to understand the wider picture. So in reality, what should we be aiming for? You need a case management hub which provides 360 degrees visibility across your fraud and compliance threats. So whether it's employee, whether it's check, ACH, mobile or AML, you need to have that visibility view of your customer and your case management system. A structured approach will lead to custom workflows specifically to the threats that you face and the cases that you have to work. You need flexibility. You need flexibility to change your parameters, to change your workflow practices where peaks and troughs occur. You need to work on cases with speed and efficiency, particularly where recoveries and monies are held in respect of fraud that's been paid away in error. You need to reduce your costs. So you need a process and system in place that is cost effective and takes automated steps to reduce additional challenges in respect of working case where duplication may occur. You need to improve visibility. So what is your exposure? Where are you suffering losses? Where are your pain points within your processes? Having a centralised and structured approach will allow you to comply with regulations, whether industry or compliance. Having a centralised and structured approach will also enable you to uncover patterns of fraud. It will increase your auditability and efficiency and give you the ability to analyse transaction data and make informed decisions. You can also learn and take actionable steps in respect of cases where you're looking across at customer level holistically. Okay, let's move back on in terms of what other industry analysts have actually said in respect of this. So getting it right does provide dividends. Here Gartner talk about the long-term benefits and savings that a case management tool can deliver. So it's not just ACI talking here, speaking about the virtues of case management and having good case management tools. Gartner also emphasised the importance of having robust case management tools that pay dividends for the institutions that invest in those tools. Let me just spend a bit of time talking about our own customer experiences, case studies in respect of case management, so that we enforce the message here. We have customers who have testified that they have struggled to stay abreast of the different types of fraud attacks, coming from multiple channels and payment types. They've also commented on the inability to retain and share staff knowledge and experience across these multiple channels and payment types. This has been a constraint to their business. However, having delivered a case management tool that is methodical and structured in approach that tackles both alert and case management, this has led to a reduction in fraud losses, increased improvement in productivity, and analysts that want to be retained within the business by working smarter and harder. It has also paid dividends in respect of delivering paybacks in months and reduced their total cost of ownership before when they were working cases manually. So there are some of the benefits that ACI and our customers have been able to see in terms of a proven case management tool. To summarise and bring today's session to close before I open it up to questions, we're looking at financial crime across 3 disciplines, as the earlier slides illustrated. Financial crime requires us to fight on multiple fronts. It requires us to have a joined-up approach across 3 disciplines. Assess, detect, and resolve. Assessing transaction, whether it's non-monetary information, transaction information, or third-party data, helps us to identify suspicions, whether it's fraudulent behaviour or the threats for money laundering. Detection behaviour helps us change policies and procedures. Identifying and admitting that you have a problem leads to resolution. Resolution, as I said earlier, requires timely and accurate intelligence to enable you to make the right actionable decisions that reduce your customer exposure. That's my presentation over with in terms of our case management capabilities today. I hope that's been informative. I can see from the chat that I've got a couple of questions come through. One is, should case and fraud and compliance be treated as separate, or should they be used within the same case management tool? From my perspective, it's important that workflow is segregated. So you need a tool that has the ability to segregate fraud and compliance workflows. Having said that, you also need a tool that has the ability to look at the intelligence, the data behind that. Because from my own experience from working in financial institutions is that today's fraud case could also be tomorrow's anti-money laundering disclosure, and today's money laundering alert could be tomorrow's fraud case. So it's important to have that cross-fertilisation and to have that visibility to both fraud and compliance alerts and cases. I'm also getting some questions around, can we actually add in additional data? Yes, within our products we have the ability to add to case folders, video clips, telephone recordings to build up case intelligence. So that's all part of our abilities from an ACI standpoint. I would advocate that they should be given with any case management tool. There's another question around standard workflows. Best practices around case management is very important. So yeah, having the right structured workflow in place is very important in respect of managing and prioritising case workflow. So yes, you do need to look for that within a tool. Okay, I'm quite happy to end today's webinar. Obviously, if you need more information on our case management tool and our other financial crime assets, I'll be more than happy to receive your call, or you can drop us a line via our main website and we'll pick it up from there. But I look forward to sharing our case management experience today with you. Thank you very much.